That word soul is such a powerful word, but also such a mysterious word. What does it mean? We talk about, I have a soul within me. Is it energy? Is it something spiritual? Is it something else? We know one thing, on a very basic technical level, the difference between a live human being and, God forbid, a not live human being. Something has shifted. You can have everything intact in the body, but it's not alive. So what is that force? As you know, my approach, semantics are semantics. The word you use is not that relevant. It's the spirit of what we're trying to convey. When we interact with each other as human beings, you and I right now, you with your friends, with your loved ones, with a stranger, who's interacting? So obviously there's a physical dimension to it. I see your face, I hear your voice, I pick up your scent, I can relate, empathize with your feelings, we can intellectually bond. But it's clearly far more than just a physical interaction between two bodies. There's a personality involved. There's a vibe. There's an entire experience that transcends time and space as we know it. You can think about someone you love. They may be 1,000,000 miles away, and there's a connection. All that goes under the rubric we'll call the soul connection. But it's one thing to talk about it, it's another to experience it. And experience is the key to everything here. Because not everything can be empirically identified with our sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell, especially soulful matters. And when you learn to develop the tools that express and relate to your soul, a whole new vista, whole new horizons open up and opportunities, both for yourself and understanding yourself, and your relationships with others. So that's what we're going to address. This is all based on the chapter of Body and Soul, first chapter in Toward a Meaningful Life. Let me begin with a story. A number of years ago, probably 15 years ago, maybe more, I received a phone call. It was the editor of Kirk Douglas, who recently passed away, the famous actor Kirk Douglas. And she tells me, I want to tell you something very touching. Mr. Douglas, who I've been helping with Simon & Schuster, publishing and working, editing and publishing his book, Climbing the Mountain, had a stroke, recently had a stroke. And as a result, it left him somewhat paralyzed, it left him somewhat incapacitated, and he would cry and cry and cry, sometimes for hours. And he actually writes about it in his book, Climbing the Mountain, the crying. So I think she told me she did, or someone else did, gave him a copy of my book, Toward a Meaningful Life. We gave him a copy of her book. And he began reading it, and it became such a source of comfort and solace for him. And indeed, in Climbing the Mountain, when it was published, they sent me the book, and there's a whole section. Kirk Douglas writes how he used to be so sad. He lost some of his faculties. He wanted to get things done. He couldn't move properly. His mind told him one thing, his body would not cooperate. And he would cry. And he just could not bear it. It was so overwhelming. And he says, in the first lines of a book I read called Toward a Meaningful Life, it says, have you ever cried for no apparent reason? That's exactly the first line in the book. Have you ever just burst out in tears for no apparent reason? This is the soft voice of your soul, crying out for attention, asking to be nourished with at least as much care as you nourish your body. That's the opening paragraph of the first chapter. This is what he quotes it. He says, so I started thinking to myself, is this my soul, these tears? It put in a whole new spin, a whole new perspective on my crying. Instead of just being crying and just feeling so sad and overwhelmed, maybe it's my soul speaking to me. What does my soul look like? What is my soul all about? And that was the beginnings of his journey, which he documents in the book with the apropos name, Climbing the Mountain, to climb the mountain. It's very moving for me when I heard that. I wrote him a letter, we corresponded, And when he passed away a few months ago, I was reminded of it. But I said to myself, all of us have voices, expressions that manifest themselves in our lives, and it's really your soul speaking to you. It just speaks a different language. It doesn't speak with words whispering into your ear. It speaks with sentiments. One of them is crying for no apparent reason. That's an existential cry from a deeper part of yourself. As I said, the word soul, I'm comfortable with that word, but I know some people are not. So the word is not significant, the message. Sometimes it's the other way around. In the next paragraph I write, have you ever experienced a truly sacred moment when despite the constant turmoil of life, you felt a profound sense of awe and belonging? That too is the voice of your soul, expressing a deep satisfaction with its intrinsic connection to the forces of spirituality. And there are other voices. I'll give another one, which is not such a positive one. Anxiety. I don't mean to sound morbid, but people who are not alive, dead people, are never anxious. Anxiety is the voice of your soul feeling frustrated. We'll deal with that in the chapter on fear and anxiety. It's frustrated. Something is out of sync. Dissonance. That's another voice. When you start thinking of it that way, basically every sentiment, every feeling, every expression you have coming from within, whether it's a positive one or a negative one, it's all positive. It's your soul speaking to you. Your body speaks to you through hunger pangs, through fatigue, through aching muscles. It's telling you do something, through pain, physical pain. All these are a call of the body to respond. Eat a meal, drink a drink, exercise, improve your nutrition, improve your diet, your hygiene, and on and on. The soul also has a language. However, its language is far more emotional, far more subliminal. And these are all the voices of your soul. So whatever you're going through, especially in our day and age, meaning in the era of the pandemic, and all the unknowns and uncertainties, has definitely evoked all kinds of feelings. So it's not just emotions. It's your soul speaking through your heart, through your emotions. So don't ignore it, and get to know the most important part of who you are, what makes you tick. So in simple terms, everything in existence has a body and a soul, in the broad sense of the word. Let's take a table. Here's a table. I'm sitting by a table. The body of the table is the actual structure of the table. Its size, its measurements, what it's made of, its legs. The function of the table is its spirit, it's its soul. I'm going to use it to eat a meal. I'm going to use it to give a class. I'm going to use it to study on. I'm going to sit with my child and we're going to do homework together. A book has a body. These are the letters on the page, the words, the typeface, the design. But what message is it conveying? That's the spirit. That's the soul of the book. Musical notes. The notes themselves is the body. It's the language. The music is the soul. We speak right now. I'm using words. But what message am I conveying? That's the soul. Some people are excellent oratory skills. They have the gift of gab. They know how to speak. But what are they saying? Is it resonating? Is it words from the heart? There are others who speak very soulfully, but they don't have the right language. So they need to develop the body. They need to develop the instruments and the tools. So think of it like the instruments, the vehicles, the channels, and that which is being conveyed through the channels. Everything has a spirit and a body. So when it comes to ourselves, the simple question is, what is the body? The body we know. The expressions we have. The soul is the spirit within, the intention, the purpose, our deeper calling. So in essence, what you want to have is a life where your body is a vehicle for your soul, not your soul is a vehicle and expression of your body. Like a ship. You want a captain of the ship. The captain is telling the ship where to go. The ship is the way to go, is the vehicle. So what is the deeper spirit of a human being? It is your purpose. It is your life purpose, your mission in life. Just like a business needs a mission statement, cannot exist without one. That's the vision and mission statement. And then there's the tactical plan. The plan of operations, the strategic plan, how you're going to do it. The how is the instrument, is the vehicle. The why is the purpose. So in different words, you can say this. The soul within a person is the grand cosmic composer's intention for which you were placed here. Your body is the musical note. Your soul is the music, is the song. So in a sense, being in touch with your soul is being in touch with your core essence. How many of us, our lives are driven by what we do, by circumstances? I ask people very often, I say, so who are you? What makes you tick? Who are you? And very often, they'll give you their business card. And when I point out that your business card tells me what you do, it doesn't tell me who you are, some people with a sigh will say, well, what I am has become a product of what I do. What I do has defined who I am, when it should be the other way around. No. Who you are should define what you do. So in business, it's very clear. A business begins with a mission statement, and then it implements it. It may tamper with the mission statement until it gets it right, but at the end of the day, that's the driving force. In our lives as well, getting to know your soul, living a soul-driven life, a soul-centric life, instead of a body-centric life, means looking with the eyes of purpose, of deeper meaning, of calling, of your unique voice, your unique music. A body-centric life is looking at the tool chest, the instruments you have, which means looking from the outside in. Now, all of us live our lives very often looking from the outside in, but that's with everyone around you. You yourself should be looking from the inside out. When you meet somebody, obviously you have no other option but to look from the outside in. You see the person, see their body language, you see whatever you can pick up with your five senses, with your instincts, with your intuition. And then you start getting to know the person. You're traveling from the outside, from the surface, from the package, the outer package, inward. Yourself, it's the exact opposite. You wake up in the morning, you don't need to look in the mirror to know you're there. You feel yourself from within, but we're not accustomed to think of ourselves that way. So we also begin to look at ourselves from the outside in. Think how ludicrous that is. What appearance you have, how others look at you, how others measure you up. Do you please? Are you satisfying someone else's expectations? Soul-centric thinking is confidence. Confidence oozing from within. A sense of self. And then everything else around you is an extension of that. That doesn't mean selfishness or arrogance or self-interest is at the heart of it. It means a sense of self. And then when you look at others, you also begin to look for that inner soul within them. That's how it works. When you focus on your inner, it's far easier and natural to focus on everybody else's inner. That's the nature of the way it works. So with that, let us talk a little more about this soul. There's a very powerful verse in the book of Proverbs. The soul of a human being is the flame of God. It's a flame. The closest approximation to a soul is a flame. Let's think of a flame. It is the only physical object that defies gravity that we can see with our physical eyes. You light a flame, light one, and you'll see the flame rises. It's the wick that keeps it grounded. What does that tell us? The soul works exactly the same way. It's always defying gravity. It is transcendent in nature. It means it's always seeking to grow. It's always looking upward. I tell a story in this chapter, a beautiful story. A young boy who later would become a great master, mystic, teacher, mentor to many. And he was, as a child, playing with other children on a ladder. They were climbing up and down, children play. He was the only child that had the courage to climb to the top of the ladder. The other children climbed halfway up, 3/4 of the way up. His grandfather, who was watching closely, called over the little boy and said to him, tell me, I was watching you play. Why were you the only one that had the strength, the courage to go all the way up to the top of the ladder and the others did not? Now you'll see why he turned out to be who he was. He said, Zayde, my grandfather. It's very simple. When the other children climbed, they kept looking down. As they climbed higher, they kept looking down, so they saw how high they were afraid. They're so far from the earth where they accustomed to be, so they were afraid to climb higher. When I was climbing, I kept looking up. I kept looking into the sky, and I saw how low I was. So it motivated me to climb higher. We all have those two options in everything we do in life. We look back, we look down, then often we say, look how far I've gotten. It makes you feel even a certain sense of pride. I don't need to climb higher. You're with other people who are less accomplished than you. Almost likely you're not going to be motivated to climb higher. Because you say, look, compared to them, look how high I am. But when you're around people that have accomplished more than you, when you set goals that are beyond sights to new horizons, you see how low you are. You see how little you've accomplished, comparatively speaking. That's a motivator. That's what the soul does to the human being. We have these two voices. One says, you've done enough. No problem. Procrastinate. You can be a little lazy today. You don't have to be that motivated. If you need your pride, think about all the accomplishments you did yesterday, the day before. The soul is a flame. Flames don't think like that. A flame is always flickering, always licking the air, wanting more. Look at the difference. There's a Hasidic expression that an animal created for a particular purpose has never seen heaven. Because they walk on all four. So their face is usually facing to the ground or close to the ground. That's why when you look at animals, with all due respect to them, this is not an insult because that's exactly what they're meant to be, part of nature's structure. Don't seek to build better homes, to have 2 homes, to have 3 cars, to have better mobile phones, fax machines, to learn how to travel. They're not concerned about quarantines. They frankly don't even go to therapists or have neurosis. They're calm, animal bliss. Graze in the meadows or wherever their habitat may be, feed, breed, protect their young, bring the next generation. They're completely satisfied. They live in the same habitats today as they did 1,000 years ago. Human beings are always restless. They're always seeking to improve. Better home, better technologies, better medicine, which also has the other side, yes, that we can have neurosis and we can be very, angst can turn into anxiety. But we seek, just imagine, how many billions, if not trillions of dollars were spent on NASA alone, space travel, exploration of outer space, to satisfy one thing, human curiosity. We want to know what's out there. We see the heavens, we see the stars, we see the planets. Is there life out there? Is there someone like us out there? What's out there? What's on this moon? Because that's what a human being is like. A flickering, restless flame, seeking, reaching, transcending. It has its challenges. Many of us would sometimes prefer animal bliss. I know a cardiologist, very beautiful man, beautiful soul, but he has a very difficult life. And he said to me once, Rabbi Jacobson, can you just pray for me one day of total peace, total calm? You know, he has a good sense of humor. So I said to him, you mean like a flat line? So he said, no, not that calm. A flat line, of course, in the cardiogram is the last thing you want to see. It means the heart has stopped. What does a cardiogram, a healthy heart, look like? A wave. A balanced wave. It has its peaks and its valleys. If the peaks are too high and the valleys are too low, too much anxiety or too much resolution, too much tension or too much resolution, you need balance. But life is all about a wave. It's all about cycles. It's a pulsating energy. The mystics call it rotze and shuv, to seek and to return, tension and resolution. A healthy measure of angst, of feeling motivated and restless because you want to go higher, is a very healthy element. Too much calm, where everything is fine, is not consistent with the human spirit. On the other hand, anxiety that doesn't have resolution, anxiety where you're so frustrated that you haven't reached certain heights without internalization, is equally challenging. So the voice of our soul, my friends, is the healthiest and most important thing we need to access. I'm always taken by the tragic line in Oliver Wendell Holmes' poem, The Voiceless, where he says, "Alas to those that die with their song still inside them." Alas to those that die with their song still inside them. Often people equate it together with Thoreau's line, "Most men lead lives of quiet desperation." We have a song inside each of us. You don't need to go search it anywhere. You don't need to buy it. You don't need to purchase it. It's yours. It's actually not just yours. It's what makes you unique. Your unique music. Your unique voice. You were born an original. Don't become a copy. Embracing that voice, allowing it to speak to you, nourishing it, nurturing it, responding to it, giving it attention like you would a flower through watering and nurturing and nourishing it, is the key. And what you get in return is your song, your voice. So understanding life through the eyes of the soul, the eyes of your soul, gives you a whole new perspective on everything. You look at things from the inside out. You walk outside, you see a beautiful tree, nice weather, or rainy, stormy weather, and you look for the soul within the message. Everything has a deeper reason. Everything has a soul within. Everything has a deeper narrative. So may you all be blessed, may we all be blessed to touch that soul, especially in turbulent times like now, where much of our outer lives have been upended, disrupted on many levels, whether the pandemic of COVID-19 or the pandemic of racial tensions long brewing. It is an opportunity to look at things with a soul, to look at another. Souls don't have colors. Souls are not defined by race. They're defined by your divine mission. And each person on this earth, of our 7.5 billion people, has a unique, indispensable soul's mission in this world. Let's look for it. Let's embrace it. Let's express it. And when that voice is expressed, and I express my voice, and you express yours, and everyone around us, we encourage each to express each other's voice, we have this beautiful symphony that, on one hand, everyone is indispensable. On the other hand, we all complement each other in one large, grand, cosmic song that will transform this world. Instead of a world of hostility and of distancing and of separation, a world of harmony within diversity. Be blessed and be well. Thank you.